Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Suggs, author and motivation hacker. In today's video, I've collaborated with Sandra the Mom Boss to bring you 10 tips on how to write fiction and nonfiction. So without further ado, let's get started. First, let me tell you a little bit about Sandra. Her channel is about self-growth, productivity, and tutorials on tools on how to help you make money from home. Sandra also released a book this year called Online Business Success, which is available on Amazon and Audible. So once you're done watching my part of the collaboration, make sure you head on over to her channel. I will leave the link below for you guys. So if you're in the middle of writing a book or you're thinking about writing a book, these are my 5 tips and I hope they help you. The very first tip I have for you is to know your character's goal. If you don't know what your character wants, you run the risk of your novel being flat and going nowhere. And sometimes when you don't know the goal, that's when you have a difficult time writing the stuff in the middle. If you know what your character wants at all times, it's easy to write scenes and dialogues and go from one scene to the next. The second tip I have for you is to know your characters. Creating character profiles is one of my favorite things to do, and I have many different ways of doing it. I will leave the link below or up here in the cards so that you see the different ways that I do it. I love knowing my characters, not just the way they look, but I also like knowing their personality traits. Are they serious and mysterious? Are they an introvert or an extrovert? Knowing the ins and outs of my characters helps me when I'm writing my novel. Tip number 3 is to know your ending. When I start writing, I have a general idea of what it is that I'm writing about, but it's not until I know the ending that I can start putting all the pieces together and start creating really good scenes that take me from one place to the next, dialogue, and creating conflict that eventually will lead me to the end. So knowing the ending is actually a really important tip that I want you to really take to heart and try to consider this when you sit down to write. Tip number 4 is that your conflict meets a point. What I mean by this is that everything you write has to have a purpose, has to have a point in the novel. You can't just write that someone's going to the movies and then a conflict occurs and then it has nothing to do with the book, or it has nothing to do with the story, with the plot. Everything you write needs to have a point. If that scene does not move the story forward, does not move it to the next scene, then it doesn't belong in your novel at all. Tip number 5 is to keep it simple. Don't think that you have to use difficult and long vocabulary just for the sake of sounding writerly. It's not necessary. Use the best words that will convey your story, that will get your dialogue, your scenes, and your story across to the reader. There's no reason to use cliches or long and difficult vocabulary just because you think that's what you're supposed to do. Keep it simple. So to recap, you guys, this is what it is. First tip I have for you is know your character's goal. Tip number 2 is to know your characters inside out. Tip number 3 is to know your ending. Tip number 4, conflict needs a point. And tip number 5, keep it simple. So that's it, you guys. I hope you found these tips helpful. Make sure you head on over to Sandra's channel. She's going to give us 5 tips on writing nonfiction. I want to remind you that I do mentor writers on writing and publishing with a little slide of motivation, and I have all the information on my website, and I will obviously leave the link below for you guys. Now it's your turn to leave me a comment below on your tips for writing fiction and nonfiction, because I do write both. I have 3 books available on Amazon, 2 novels, and 1 nonfiction book. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. I am here every Monday and Thursday. On Monday, I give motivation and positive tips, and on Thursdays, I give writing tips just like this. So that's it, you guys. Until next time, stay safe.